Welcome to the second part of Yummy Foods, Veggies and more. In this video we have fresh coconut, perfect tomato and raspberry cheesecake. So let's start with the first one, the fresh coconut. It was easy to follow along and fun to paint, and the color combinations were not that hard for me to follow along. Enjoy this speed paint of our first one. For the base layer, instead of white oil pastel, I used white pastel, and it was a mistake because a lot of white oil pastel dust was generated, as well as the texture was a lot more coarse and rough. Now continuing on with the brown for the coconut. And with these I am done with the first coconut. Moving on to the second one. So this time, instead of using the pastel, I used oil pastel for the base layer. Now continuing forward with the rest of the painting. For this coconut I experimented a little bit with the color combination. Now enjoy the rest of the sweet paint. And I am mostly done with the second coconut. Finally, going in with the black to add the shadows. These shadows were not present in the book. I decided to add the shadows on my own. Lastly, adding the final touches and cleaning the painting. And with these, we are done with our coconut. Moving on to the perfect tomato. So again, starting with a basic pencil sketch. The sketching for the most of the food illustrations were easy to follow along. For this one, we have a perfect tomato and a red chili. The thing is, I make a little bit of adjustment while following the steps because I did not have the exact colors that was mentioned in the book, so I made adjustments wherever required. Adding the white for the highlight as well as to decrease the intensity of the red wherever required. And with these we are almost done with the tomato, adding the final touches for the leaves. And with these we are done with our tomato. Now moving on to the red chili. Enjoy the speed paint. Finally, adding the base for the tomato and the chili. So the bases and the shadows were not given in the book, but I find it more interesting and pleasing, so I decided to add bases and the shadows for most of the paintings. For this one, instead of the dark color, I used white for the base. And with these, we are almost done with the second one. Touches with the white, and we are done with the perfect tomato and the red chili. Here's the side-by-side comparison of the tomato and the red chili. Now moving on to the third one, the raspberry cheesecake. Once again, starting with the basic pencil sketch. So here goes the raspberry cheesecake. Adding the finer details and the highlights for the cheesecake. And we are almost done with the cheesecake. Now moving on to blueberry cheesecake. So this too is right in my alley. So let's paint blueberry cheesecake. Obviously starting with the blue for the blueberries. And with these I am almost done with the blueberry cheesecake. Finally adding the base for these two cheesecakes. This time I am using a combination of white along with the grey. And with these we are done with the fresh coconut, perfect tomato as well as raspberry cheesecake. See you in the third and the final yummy foods, veggies and more, where I'll be painting skillet breakfast, pistachio ice cream cone, heart shaped lollipop and homemade sandwich.